Buzelis, the game winner.
He called game a thing of beauty, a turnaround fadeaway sideline jumper. 19-year-old Matas Buzelis rose to the occasion in Indy during All-Star Weekend, hitting a game winner. The shot advanced Team Detlef to the Panini Rising Stars Championship game. Welcome to NBA G League Ignite Takeover. I'm your host, Mike Davis. Coming up, we're recapping all the action from All-Star Weekend. Plus, we meet the guard with the red-hot hands, sweeter than a peppermint patty. Yes, Mr. Gabe York. And later, London Johnson is getting a big head with a bobblehead. Of course, he sits down with me for a one-on-one conversation. But first, we begin with a look back at what was an awesome All-Star Weekend showing from Team Ignite. 4 teams participated in this year's Panini Rising Stars tournament. Team Detlef, coached by former Indiana Pacer great Detlef Schrempf, consisted of 4 Ignite studs, including Tyler Smith, Ethan Almanza, Ron Holland, and Matas Buzelis. Now, Ron Holland did not play due to injury, but that was all in good because Matas came up big, hitting that game winner to take Team Detlef to the finals. Now, the weekend was great exposure for these young prospects. Smith and Almanza also played alongside Matas Buzelis in the Rising Stars game. That trio of Matas, Almanza, and Smith also getting good reps in the G League All-Star Next Up game as well. Plus, London Johnson, Dink Pate, Babacar Sane, and Thierry Darlin got in the action as well. And an Ignite legend and the 3rd pick in last year's NBA draft to the Portland Trail Blazers. I'm talking about Scoot Henderson. He played in the Rising Stars competition for Team Tamika. He led the team in scoring with 10 points. He also added an assist in what ended up being a loss against the eventual champion Team Jalen. Now, Ignite alum Dyson Daniels was supposed to play, but he sat out. So from a game winner to Inside the Pro Lab, let's stay with Matas Buzelis for this new edition of Inside the Pro Lab.
Matas is a good person on there and off the court. He about his business, though. He ain't gonna let nobody slip when it comes to just working hard.
I think he's a great teammate. I think he's encouraging. I think he's always celebrating other teammates' success. I think he looks for his teammates on the floor. I think he's real encouraging. I think he's a good teammate.
I love Matas. He's a dude I want him around him forever in my life just because I know he ain't gonna let me slip and take nothing for granted.
You put on some weight.
A little bit, yeah.
How much you put on?
I mean, when I was at Brewster, I was like 170, and now I'm like 205.
I was gonna say even last year at Sunrise though, you didn't look like that.
At Sunrise I was like 180.
Really?
Yeah, I was light.
So you put on 20 pounds plus in the last year?
Yeah, like 25. I go through the whole thing. So wake up, go to weightlift with Earn, then get some treatment, then encore workout, and then stay after for a little bit to shoot. So, yeah.
Nice. What are you working on the most? What are you most focused on this year?
Really focus in the weight room, gaining weight. And also just playing more physical, you know. I think that's going to be the biggest,
Yeah, with him being such a highly touted pick or just coming up draft, I know a lot of pressure comes with that. So I just tried to give him a little bit of what I can do. I've had a mental health coach for over 10 years, so let him talk to Graham, and him and Graham have gotten real close. And these are just little things to get an edge on the competition. He actually wanted to do it. Most people his age look at it differently than people that are older like me, but he bought in right away.
What a pass by Buzelis.
That's the young man that has shown tremendous progress over the last month with Buzelis. And he's just improved on his ball handling and his post-up situations.
As good as he is, he still needs to be coached. There's little areas in his game that could be better. We've been on him about defending. I think he's improved thus far with one-on-one defense and defensive concepts. The next part has always been rebounding.
Already,
Made me laugh, bro.
Oh, that was a push-up.
I would say that his potential, I think he has a lot more skill than a Peja Stojakovic, but we look at his size and his length and how comfortable he is kind of getting his shot off, there's a lot of similarities.
I've improved a lot, just my mental focus, also just, you know, slight details on and off the court that the vet's been helping me with. Defensively, I've improved dramatically, and it's been an overall good season for me.
Love that, dude. Excited to see what he does at the next level. Now, coming up, we're telling you about the Human Torch. Yes, he's on fire, and in turn, firing up this Ignite team. Stick around.
Watch for quick action.
And here's York with the steal. All alone. It's showtime!
I knew it.
Well, before the All-Star break and the magical Matas moment, the moment belonged to Gabe York. Yeah, get this. In a 24-hour span, York dropped 71 points. Ladies and gentlemen, he's called the Human Torch for a reason. Now, let's break this all down. So on Tuesday, February 12th, York led the charge as the Ignite took down the Mad Ants 123-114. York was on fire, filling the stat line with 45 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists, and 3 steals. I mean, come on. Why didn't Kevin Feige just hire York for Marvel's Fantastic Four reboot? He would have been a good Human Torch. Now, York also set a record for the most points scored in a single Ignite game with that 45 drop. But the Human Torch didn't stop there. The next game, once again, against the Mad Ants, he stayed hot, scoring 18 points in the first half alone, but finished with 26. Babacar Sane also had a career night, posting career highs in points with 23 and a season high in rebounds with 13. But it wasn't just Babacar who had the career night. Sharpshooting big man Tyler Smith poured in a career high 29 points as well. Now, it's safe to say GM Anthony McClish has made a tremendous move signing York, giving the Ignite the spark they need just before the All-Star break. Now, London Johnson has got the handles and the hair. Now he's got his own bobblehead, and you can have it too. Yes, the London Johnson bobblehead giveaway is going down Sunday, February 25th at 1 p.m. at the Dollar Loan Center as the Ignite take on the South Bay Lakers. But before that, I sat down with the second-year guard here in the studio. Let's take a look.
Here's Johnson. He's in attack mode. He gets the blow-by.
What did you learn about yourself last year as a player, and what are you looking to build on in this next season?
Well, last year I feel like I came in behind Scoot, just open eyes and poo, open eyes, open ears, just learning as much as I can. So then this year I could come out and show what I've learned.
And what have you learned from, Scoot Henderson? I mean, a guy playing with him. What are the things you glean on and learn about a guy like Scoot?
He just gave me different keys and tips that I should use for this year, like different pace and different reads to make and look for when I'm in the pick and roll and stuff like that.
And, you 19 years old, you're 6'3", sure. But you model your game off of Chris Paul. So It's a little different than Scoot, Sure. I mean, tell us, how have you tried to emulate Chris Paul since
I feel like
kid?
I have a similar athleticism to Chris Paul, so I use my pick and roll jump shots and my middies and my threes like Chris Paul.
Johnson for 3. It's in.
And, last year, you averaged about 10 points a game, about 3 assists, 2 rebounds. So this year, I mean, what have you seen in your development as a player already so far, playing in the Fall Invitational, playing overseas? Where have you grown as a player?
I feel like I've put on pretty good weight, about 15 pounds since last year. And then I've been working on my outside perimeter shot, so like deeper range and then coming out, shooting right off the dribble and stuff like that.
And in high school, you led Norcross High School to a state title.
Yeah.
There's a lot of players, who, they fill up the stat sheet, but they don't know how to win. How much about, winning at that level and taking that with you? What did you learn as a guy who won a high school state title?
I just felt like I had a great team, a great coach, so being around them, I needed to know when to score and then when to facilitate also, so I had good players around me that also helped.
And, at the time of your signing, you signed a contract for like $1 million coming through the Ignite. You had a lot of offers, UNC, Clemson, USC, all these top tier programs. Explain to us why you chose Ignite.
I chose Ignite because to make it to the NBA, that's my goal. And with that being my goal, I felt like having NBA coaches, pro players on my team to help me get to that goal is the best way to do it.
And are you seeing this as the trend? This is the way that guys of your caliber, they're starting to think this way. It's different than even when I was growing up. Why is this such a great option? Tell people at home who are even in your position, explain to us really how Ignite and the G League make such a big difference.
I feel like it translates the best. So I'm playing against guys who might play in an NBA game on Monday and then come play against me on Thursday. So then I'm getting that caliber of high talent competition.
Look at Johnson with the steal. Hello!
Have you spoken to Scoot since he's been drafted by the Blazers and all that stuff?
Yeah, he'll come back to Vegas sometimes and hang out sometimes, and then I'll talk to him over the phone and stuff like that.
What has he said about where he's at now, and has he relayed anything about, Ignite really got me ready for this? What has he told you in that sense since being drafted number 3 overall?
I definitely feel like he's more confident than the other players coming from college, playing against pro players. So I feel like when he went out in summer league and then preseason that he killed just because it felt normal to him.
Yeah. Where do you see yourself in a year from now?
Hopefully on the NBA roster playing preseason right now.
He's got 3 seconds to work. Here's Johnson going against Hawkins from the elbow. Yeah, buddy!
Coming up, he's the first player in NBA history to be drafted from the NBA D League. Yeah, we're going way back before the G League was even the G League. Former LA Clipper and Idaho Stampede legend Mike Taylor joins the show. That's after the break. Welcome back. Well, before the G League was the G League, it was the D League. And our next guest made history as the first player in NBA history to be drafted from the NBA to the NBA D League, from that whole kind of spectrum. Now, Mike Taylor joins me now. Mike, thanks so much for being with us. So tell us a little bit about your journey. I know you played 3 seasons at Chippewa College and at Iowa State, but kind of what made you transition to the Idaho Stampede before we get into your NBA journey?
Well, actually, kind of lost my basketball scholarship at Iowa State. I went to junior college for 2 years at Chipola. Then I was at Iowa State. Was going through a lot of, now I know, I was going through a mental health crisis. My mom was diagnosed with bipolar. My best friend had died in a car accident. And then I had, I kind of stopped being a student part of my student athlete scholarship. So that led me to being dismissed from school. But then I went to the G League going into my senior year. And man, playing for Idaho and the Stampede and playing professional basketball, I just took it as a clean slate. And, my team actually won a championship that year as well. We was like on a 17-game winning streak, and I was that spark plug off of the bench.
See, that's amazing. And you were, what's crazy is you were averaging about 16 points per game at Iowa State, and then right away you're with the Idaho Stampede and you're averaging 15 points per game. So kind of teach our audience a little bit. Tell us what that transition was like, because I think a lot of people think, the transition from college basketball, where you could be going up against the kids studying economics who's a walk-on, to then going to play against professional players in the D League. How was that transition for you? Because it seems like you got going right away. It didn't seem like it was too tough at all for you.
I mean, it was a unique situation. You know what I'm saying? I feel like I'm a once in a generation talent. So for me, the transition was pretty much easy. Coming from a college system to where it's predominantly the coaches' schemes, to going into an NBA floor where it's a bigger floor. The offense is more spread open. And you have the different lanes to be able to drive. And just playing in the G League, I think actually prepared me for that, for the NBA. So that transition was, I was just being a sponge. I just wanted to learn how to play and be a point guard on a professional level. So for me, I was just, staying after for everything, watching film. I was just actually dedicated to learning and making it to the NBA. That was my that was my goal.
So do you recommend, I'm sure people constantly come up to you, you know, as a guy who's been a journeyman, you played in the NBA, we'll talk a little bit about that. We're just seeing some highlights from that famous MSG game where you scored 35. But, you know, do current players come up to you now, and, you know, guys who are maybe making that choice and that decision between, do I go to the D League, do I go to the G League, do I, you know, go straight to college? What's your advice for young guys right now as they're trying to make that determination for themselves?
My advice is go to the D League. Go to the G League. I'm sorry about that. But yeah, go to the G League. I believe if you have the talent and you're considering being a professional now, with the Ignite being there, and they're actually recruiting guys from the high school level to play professional basketball. So I think that is my advice. If you have the talent and you're being recruited on that professional level, I say go and give it a shot.
See?
Because you have the opportunity not only to provide and make sure that your family is secure more than you would in college, but you get a chance to see what it's like to be a professional.
That's
and
great.
See what that level is like.
Last question for you, Mike. You know, help me understand, because how does a guy, you know, you're playing at Iowa State, you go to the Idaho Stampede, you finally get drafted 55th overall by the Portland Trail Blazers on draft night. You're eventually traded to the LA Clippers, so you become the first player ever drafted into the NBA from the D League at the time. And, you know, you have a pretty good few games in the NBA. You dropped 35 at Madison Square Garden facing the Knicks. So help me understand why you didn't play more years in the NBA and you were more overseas, because I mean the talent must have been there. You could easily score. I think it's so crazy how hard it is to keep an NBA job. Explain to me what you think happened with your own career. I
know that when you're the first person to do something, no one really knows. The D League was started in 2001. And in 2007, 2008, when I got drafted, it was still a fairly new league. No one really knew what it was. So a lot of people just didn't know. Like still today, a lot of people don't know that I was the first person ever to be drafted from the D League, from the G League. So I think it was part of like people just not knowing exactly what it was. And then now you have two-way contracts to where, you know, you can go down to the G League and still have opportunity to play in the NBA. Like those things that are in place now for players, it wasn't there when I was in the G League.
That makes a lot of sense.
So it's so many different new ways that I feel like I was one of those pioneers. And that game at Madison Square Garden, that is an NBA record for a rookie scoring 35.
Hey, I love that. The great Mike Taylor. You can still catch him. He actually plays right now in the Big Three with Ice Cube's league. So it's great stuff. We're going to be talking to you more in the future as well, Mike. Thanks for hanging out with us.
Man, I appreciate you for having me. Looking forward to being back up.
Yeah, of course. Thank you, man. Next time in the studio. Guys, coming up, we got more Ignite action for you. We're staying with the veteran theme here. We're introducing you to Admon Gilder, AG. Stick around.
Here's Gilder on the attack.
You've played all over. You played overseas or with Texas A&M, Gonzaga, a lot of Gonzaga guys on the team we got to talk about. But the Ignite, you know, tell us what makes this team Ignite different from all other organizations, other teams you've been a part of.
I think it's just, you know, a great opportunity. We have, of course, you know, you don't find too many teams where you have 9 or 10, 18, 19-year-olds on the team. And so I think that's, very unique. And then also having, an older group of guys, to come in and try to, accomplish one goal, I think it's, something special because, that's just what a pro is being about. It doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter, where you're from. Getting a group of guys and be able to come, try to win a championship.
Nice move there by Gilder.
And, 27, you're a young dude, but on a team like this where there are 17, 18-year-old, 19-year-olds, you are a leader. And in terms of vet, what's your leadership style? How do you, bring that type of perspective to these younger guys?
I think it starts with just, coming to work every day, realizing that, as a pro, there's going to be good days and there's going to be bad days. And so just showing up every single day and trying to give it 110%, I think that's the most important thing. And then, just kind of like, using my experience. I also have had, like you said, I've been a pro for a little bit. It's my 3rd year as a pro, but also been playing for a while. And just kind of like having the obstacles, and some of the adversity that I've been through, having good times and, accomplishing a lot in college. But now as a pro, just trying to figure it all out, and put it all together.
Yeah, let's talk about in college. You did have blood clot issues. You had to have a rib get taken out, actually, but you're the first person in your family to graduate from college. Talk a little bit about, a guy who had 2 state titles in high school. You're from Dallas, Texas. You were a Gatorade Texas Player of the Year. Tell us a little bit about, being precocious and being that good at that young of an age, and then how your college career kind of unfolded.
I mean, it all starts with the man above. Without him, none of this would have been possible. But also just having a good support system, having my family behind me, since I was young, and even up to this point, they've been helping me out since, when I was, in high school. My dad put the ball in my hands, and being able to accomplish those things just is incredible. But also shows that I've been able to put a lot of hard work into everything that I've done. And and like I said, I always say, like, sky's the limit. Just keep on pressing forward, and I think I can accomplish anything.
Tough turnaround shot by Gilder.
If you could go back in time, and put yourself as, 18, 19, the experience that these guys are getting now at this age, what is going to be the benefit that pays off in the long run for them, you think, most?
I think being able to come to a situation where you can also, focus a little bit more on the basketball side. So I went to A&M and I went to, Gonzaga as well. But within that time, from 8 to 3, you're in school for majority of the time. And these guys coming into this situation, where they can wake up every single day and focus, on their job, which is being a professional basketball player from 7 to 3 o'clock whenever we get done. I think that's going to only help them when it's time for them to get those NBA call-ups and get into those NBA situations.
Gilder with some space, and he knocks down the